know, transing your kid is probably one of the sickest forms of sacrifice, right? Um, that's why I don't think it's unintentional when these celebrities do it. I think they have it's kind of planned, and you see these transgender cults throughout, you know, throughout the ancient past as well. The moon cults of sin. They were like castrating themselves and doing all that. And what is it? I guess the Kabbalah was there's like seven genders, I think, and
Yeah.
that number is pretty important too, right? Seven. You see that a lot. I just had John Lee Chowbeck on my podcast. I know you're friends with John.
We love
Um,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, John's a good guy. He's been on Grey Pill a few times. And we talked about 77 for 3 hours again, and how it he made the connection that it does relate to Shamgaz, aka Samyaza, um, one of the not the I don't think the main fallen angel. I think a lot of them kind of played their own specific roles that made them important, but he is one of the ones that pushed the rest of them to make or have sex
He
with
was the union
women.
organizer.
Yeah, well, in the Sumerian mythos, it said that Marduk had a wedding. He married Sarpanit, this human woman, and that Semyaza basically brought the angels down for his wedding. Yeah, yeah, and so he kind of broke that. Like I don't think there had been any crossbreeding at the time between this angelic or fallen and angelic race and the humans that were on Earth at the time. However, you do hear stories of Inky kind of like just getting real horny and just like having sex with these random human women. He doesn't really tell anybody. And like I said, this is just the interpretation from Inky and the World Order, the 50 Heroes, and all that stuff. Um, and through Sitchin's books because I've read Sitchin, I've looked at Lawrence Gardner's stuff, Michael Heiser. I've looked at it from a lot of different views. I think not everyone's going to see the same on it. There's a lot of different perspectives you can look at it from. But yeah, dude, it's basically the corruption of humanity through these deities, and now they're getting brave with it, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
we've had these rituals at the Super Bowls, and it was very disappointing this year, actually, to be honest with you.
It was. There
All
was not that
all
much going on.
no, bro. I
There
mean, all
was though. That's the crazy
Ah.
thing, because then you get into like that jumper. The two Asian guys have a podcast, and they broke down that whole thing was a shot at Drake. Like when they
Yeah.
had the two girls there, that the two women that were dancing
Yeah.
were both of Drake's exes.
It's crazy,
So
dude.
oh, dude, I didn't know that.
they were both his exes. So you had an X in the middle and an X there. So
People
it's
hate Drake and hip hop, rap, whatever we call it these days. They hate Drake. Like so many people hate Drake.
Well, I mean, think about what Drake represents. He's a Canadian who's somewhat kind of come in and stolen American
Yeah.
urban culture.
I mean,
And-
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Sam, but he was on a show called Degrassi. It's like
oh
a
yeah, have you
kid.
seen
Yeah.
that? Where like they
Genius.
had a scene where all these gay pornos came out of a locker,
Hmm.
and you're like, what is going on? Because the most conservative Canadian is basically, like we said with Richard, uh,
Yeah.
Siritz, right? Is that
Yeah.
the most
Carrot. Carrot.
conservative? Ferrets, right? Like
Carrot.
carrots,
Like
Sarah?
carrot. Yeah.
The most conservative Canadian is basically a liberal in America. And so it totally makes sense. But you have this guy coming in who has all this weird symbolism in everything he does.
Everything.
And he's like hijacking American black culture when he's a Canadian. And, a black Canadian is basically a white person.
Yeah.
And and he's part Jewish too, right?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
So
By the way, if you notice that black people are totally allowed to be anti-Semitic, like nobody calls them up, like
I disagree on
yeah.
that. I think they do get called
Oh,
out. I think it's
really?
yeah, Kanye West, Michael
Well,
Jackson.
no, Kanye. Now, the Kanye West. I mean, he's putting the swastika on his T-shirts that he's selling. That's a whole different thing. But you hear like talking about agents and stuff
Guys,
like that,
you
and like
just
code
figured out
language.
your Christmas gift. Sorry. Go on.
Right.
Dude, that
And
thing's
You
gonna be
think I'm
collectible.
joking? Go on.
did you buy some of those?
No, I didn't,
I
but
was
I
gonna say
would.
you should have. You could have probably sold them for a lot more when he
I
was
bought the shoes. I
forced to
wanted to
take
see
them
what
off.
those were like.
Did
Everything's
those
$20.
have?
That's a radical idea, dude. Good for him.
Did
Oh
so?
boy.
Hold
I
on.
mean,
Did the
if you
shoes have
ever
Swazis on them?
No, no.
no,
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to see
but
what
if
they
you're
were.
ever
$20.
wondering what the mystery T-shirt is, just buy it.
Yeah, just buy it. I got new ones coming out. I can't get anybody to do this one. I just can't get it to happen. No one can take a picture and make a cartoon. I
Oh,
just can't find.
I
Is
thought
it,
you meant you couldn't get anyone to actually print it. I was like, how dangerous is that?
No. I just, the picture I wanted
I know. Yeah, I know
changed,
what you
and
want.
nobody will draw it into a cartoon. Nobody.
Are you
I
saying
guess
they're refusing or they can't make it work?
they say they can't make it work. It's so weird to me. It's
Huh.
so crazy to me.
Well, can
It's
you
like-
send it to me and I'll try it?
It's the thing I showed. It's a thing I showed you, Johnny. How he was asking me to make it
Just
look
send it
like.
to me. I got a few AI things that might be able to like
Yeah.
cartoonize it. If you can send it to me.
You
right,
gotta
we'll do.
not put the certain word in there because then the AI goes nuts.
Well, I'll just do the art. I won't do the
Yeah,
technical.
for sure. Anyways, back to it. By the way, Swayze, did you say one entity is called Samwazy or something like that? Did you say
Who?
that earlier?
You talking about that I can't talk. Simyaza?
Simyaza.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude, this is how hidden this stuff is. That would be a total rapper's name. If everyone knew that, Simyaza,
Oh, dude, yeah.
come on,
Lil
tell me
Simyaza.
that's not the best rapper name ever.
I mean, we got SZA already, and it's just. But have you noticed they've just decided to do away with vowels in rap? Like, there's so many of them now. It's just like I mean, three. They're kind of mushing. Like, there's this show. The one of the most popular songs in the country is called. It's APT. And it's this word, like this Korean word, apato or something. But they just
In
got rid of all
country or hip hop?
it's a it's like a pop hip hop. There's a rap section in it, and then it's like there's a singing section, and then you got SZA. That's just SZA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to say any of that.
Well, there's a reason nobody's listening to hip hop right now. It's like it's bottoming out because it's gotten so dumb.
Yeah, there's
gotten
there's
so
a lot of bottoming going on in hip hop, from what I understand.
A lot
Hey,
of
so you
them.
think next Super Bowl goes back to rock? It's been hip
no,
hop
I mean,
and pop. It was Rihanna, then it was Kendrick, then Dre,
Usher.
then Dr. Dre. It's been pretty hip hop ishy.
well, that's the whole thing when you hear people like all these people on the internet, like they just don't want black people to do the Super Bowl. That's all it's been. Like, what are you talking about? Like it's like these people like that are crying about political correctness are like the Japanese guy on the island that doesn't know the war's over.
Yeah.
The war's over. It's done. Stop crying about it. Oh man, they won't let a black man sing. The last five guys, like they've all been black. The last five shows. What are we talking about here? What was the last white performer in the Super Bowl?
Oh, it was Eminem, right? Yeah.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
but that
count.
wasn't his show.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, you-
Dre's.
Oh, you mean like the headliner? Okay, let's see. The Who, maybe? What? Paul McCartney? They were a couple of years ago. What was?
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Justin Timberlake was a long time ago with the titty.
Oh,
with
could have
the-
been.
That was
oh, no,
great,
that
though.
was
Jackson and the titty.
2003,
Yeah.
That was
was
great. That
2003.
was
But that
great.
was like
Bring that back.
was like 20 years ago.
Bring
Yeah,
it
that was
back.
2003.
Bring the titty
Bring
back.
back the
Okay,
tits.
list of
Bring
Super
Janet
Bowl
Jackson's titty.
performers. Okay, Mark Ronson was on one. He's white.
He is. He is white.
Let's see. I gotta go all the way scrolling down here. Okay, so last year Kendrick Lamar, Usher. Before that, Rihanna, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem. So yeah, if you don't count that, The Weeknd before that, Shakira and J Lo before that, Maroon 5, 2019.
Maroon 5, 6 years ago.
How are they that's Maroon 5 doing a
I
Super
forgot that band existed.
Yeah, so dumb. And then Justin Timberlake before that, and then Lady Gaga before that, and then Coldplay before that. So we had a run. Katy Perry,
That's a good
Then-
run.
Bruno
Been a
Mars.
good run. It was a
Yeah,
fun
pretty good
time.
run.
It was a fun
Well,
time.
You had
think they should
mentioned
give it
them
back
trying
to
to
you
take the
guys.
vowels out of these names. That's what they did in like the ancient Hebrew, right? They took vowels out the names, like the original way to spell Yahweh was YHWH. I think. So maybe there's something to that.
There's
I don't know.
some
Like I
dispute
said,
about that, right? Like some people think that there's some funny business going on with that, like trying to disguise the name of God or something to maybe.
Johnny, are you trying to say
yeah,
the Jews are
yeah.
up to funny business? Is
Oh,
that what you just said right
Be
there?
careful.
Be
not on any
careful,
public
bro.
airwaves. No,
What are we,
definitely not.
dangerous retards? What are we doing here?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I am. So,
No, I got my dangerous retard shirt. I'm in.
there
I'm
you
a
go.
dangerous
Oh, yeah, you
retard.
are,
I'm in.
Sam. You are.
Yeah,
You are
I
an
am. I
honorary
am.
dangerous retard, bro.
So real quick, what was the book? I'm sorry, people like get back to it. What is the book of 50 heroes? What'd you call that?
It's Inky and the World Order. It's translated from this tablet. It's a story where it talks about Inky, who is Ea, which means Lord of the Water. Uh, what's his name? Poseidon, so to say. But
They're
I've
the
also
same guy. They're the same guy.
yes, same guy.
Ooh.
Either, I mean, you have to kind of take like reincarnation chambers and into this kind of perspective, um, as well as them being able to. I mean, if these are ancient entities and they have some kind of knowledge that we don't possess, that they're feeding us this little knowledge bit by bit up until this last century, I think. Um, but why wouldn't they be able to make like organic meat suits for themselves, right? And transfer consciousness into these other bodies, either by that or just knowing their way through these astral realms to where they could incarnate into another body, um, as well as these cults doing rituals, invocation rituals, right? To try and bring about a certain deity, a certain spirit into a young child or a virgin, or like, you have a lot of different occult groups, a lot of different symbolism. It's not, that's what I was saying earlier. It's not all just one Satan. People are so afraid of Satan, right? And it's like, well, which one? You know, is it cult of Abraxas? Is it the Temple of Set? There's many, and I've also thought about it like maybe in the ancient times, since I mean, you can tell that some of these names they changed a couple letters here, a couple letters there, and it's the same deity just rebranded. That's all it is just the rebranding of these ancient deities into, all the way up until now.
Do you think the Demiurge and Abraxas are the same guy?
Y'all to Boeth being the demiurge, right?
Maybe. I haven't heard of y'all both. I've heard of Abraxas, which was
The chicken snake god,
the
right?
chicken snake god. There we go. That's a
Yeah,
when people
yeah.
walk up with that t-shirt, I'm like, man, you've been listening for a while. To have
Oh
that
yeah, man.
t-shirt, that was a limited edition because
Oh yeah.
those guys didn't like their bodies, so we couldn't sell it all the time. Um, but then you get, and by the way, the first female feminist action was the Demiurge.
Sophia.
Sophia's like, I don't
Yeah,
need a
yeah.
man. I don't need a man. Okay. I'll raise my own kids. And then she had the demiurge and it just went all completely wrong
Dude.
quickly.
It's the same. Okay, so it's the same thing with Lilith too, right? Like she rejected God, her father, right? Rejected her husband and went with Samael. Um, Rode
Okay. Tell
off
me
into
that
the
story because I
sunset.
thought Lilith was Adam's first wife and she was like, I want to get on top. He's like, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
that's the interpretation of it, right? For certain texts, but there is a story that she was descended from these fallen, you know, this fallen pantheon, and he only had some of this kind of DNA, and so she rejected him and went after. When you read about these entities, they're usually going after like their cousin, their sister. And I think that's where the elite get these like inbred proclivities today, right? Like
Sounds like
are from
Pornhub.
these.
Or it sounds
Yes.
like White Lotus.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And so that's where that like dark feminine aspect comes from, the dark mother, as John Lee likes to talk about.
The Dark
Um,
Mothers.
yeah. The dark mother and the number 42. It's still fresh on my mind because he came on just a couple weeks ago. And that being tied into Crowley and all this stuff. And these are the same entities that I believe Crowley was contacting. And after Crowley, you have all these people that are basically, like, oh, I want to try, to follow his work. Now, I don't know why you would want to do that. Um, but when you get into some of these occult teachings, I do believe it is intentional. I believe there's knowledge from God, not the stuff that Crowley taught, right? Not the whole thing with the children and doing that's abhorrent. He should be taken out back and done away with, right? But some of these more esoteric things that we're not taught and that we're just told is basically all satanic, right? And I think the New Age was a big part and had a big part in subverting a lot of this knowledge that originally came from the Creator, you know, and it's used by these occultists and these people that are in these groups to manipulate and subvert our reality. You know,
It's so crazy how much work they're doing at it.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so crazy, man. The rebranding of entities. Are there any other ones that have kind of stood out to you?
Well, of course, there is Osiris. Um, Osiris plays a big role in a lot of these mystery schools, especially a lot of these like reincarnation rituals. He is green. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Osiris. He is I think, the original Green Man, which you see them like rebrand that throughout movies with the Grinch, Yoda,
Mhm.
Piccolo from
Whoa.
Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, all this stuff. And then
The
it went
Green
on into,
Lantern.
yeah, well, yeah. What's another good one, dude? Kermit the Frog, even Pepe, right? The meme. And
Yeah.
I talked about that, when Elon changed his name to Kekius Maximus.
Yeah.
Then you go look into who Kek is, the Egyptian frog god. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. What the fuck is this guy doing? I think he knows what he's doing. But um, I have a theory that Elon is the return of who I call Inky, basically. This
Okay.
Oh,
Explain.
Lucifer this Luciferic archetype, right? This false hope, this false light.
Are you getting into Antichrist?
You could say Antichrist, right?
Trump seems to be playing really into that right now, dude.
Bro,
Like,
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at the support he gets. And like you have people in a certain country that call him their Messiah, right? Their Moshiach, so to say.
is that
Um,
crazy?
It is. It is crazy, dude. And you'll have people that just deny it. They're just like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like I said, trust the plan, bro. That doesn't work for me. I mean, I don't even think the assassination was 100%, dude. Like, I think most of it is just world stage, political theater. Two sides of the same coin. On the weekends, they're sitting in their high-rise mansions and condos laughing at this shit. You know? Um, and that goes,
By the way, I totally agree. I don't.
oh yeah,
I think if they wanted him dead, he wouldn't have gotten out of there. There would have been multiple shooters. We'd only know about one, but there would be multiple shooters. And I'm not saying that the guy who died, I think he died. I think they have to make
absolutely.
sacrifices, sadly, sending
Sadly.
love and respect to his family.
Yeah.
Everything is a magic trick. Everything is sorcery.
Do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
there was no chance though that he could have died? Like, I mean, that's an awfully I guess is it? Do you think the president was in on it? Because otherwise, you're suggesting that this was such a precise thing that they flicked a bullet by his ear. Where if this
Well, a lot of people think he could have done the cut his ear when he went
that's
down.
what I'm
But
wondering.
that means he's in on it. That means he's in on it.
That he'd be
Those
in
are-
on it, man.
Those are
It's
two
very,
options, really.
yeah, dude. I mean, it's pretty disappointing to think about if he is,
Yeah.
excuse me. But
But wait up, if he's in on it, then I think everybody's in on it. As in
Absolutely.
Biden, everybody knew it was going to happen. Then they're just playing on. Because if he's in on it, everybody has to be
They
in
would
on
know, right? Because
Well,
the
yeah.
Secret Service was right there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, where was it that Trump and Obama were like sitting there giggling with each other? Was that
Kissing in a
inauguration?
tree.
Yeah.
Kissing.
Well, you
That
saw
was
even
at
Bush
Jimmy.
gave Obama a little belly slap. Did you see that when he was walking by him, giving him a little belly slap?
Oh yeah,
They're
dude.
all just
Well,
best
they've
friends.
known each other.
They're all buddies.
They've known him since he was a kid. Oh, but that's his cousin.
Family.
The
Yeah.
Bushes. Yeah.
They called him
man.
Black Bush. That was his name.
Bush Senior used to feed him candy, right, or some
Yeah.
shit. He
They
used to
call
feed
him
him candy out of his pocket.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
wholeheartedly.
Who do you think corn pop is actually?
I don't think he's real. I don't
Biden
think
was
he's
actually
real.
talking about fucking Obama, corn pop.
He's
Oh,
talking about fucking
maybe
Obama.
interesting. Corn Pop was a bad boy. Bad
Think
man.
about that. What do y'all think about Big Mike? You think
She's got a
Big
big
Mike?
one. Yeah, big
She
one.
got a huge hog. Yeah.
I just
Well,
wonder-
the question becomes
distraction.
now that Bridget McComb's outed as a dude, that story is so insane. Just when you think it's like, oh, he just married a guy in a wig, and then it comes out it's probably his dad.
Ugh.
That's fucked, man. I
the
didn't hear
the
about
Big
it being
Mike
his
thing. I
dad.
think I call that dick distraction because I don't think it's real. But the France thing is like that's.
So Johnny, you
Weird.
don't think it's possible?
I don't think it matters with Big Mike, but this thing in France is a completely different.
In what
situation.
sense?
Well, I mean, you're talking about underage. You're talking about
He was a kid.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're related.
Right, but it's still like a lie.
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't care about politicians lying about their personal lives. If you're saying it's because that means they got something on them, they got something on everybody. I don't care. I mean, I know that.
Like, I get what you mean, Johnny. Like, it doesn't matter, but also, like, the first lady cannot be a dude.
Why not? I mean, I don't. It's probably happened before. Look at Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh my God,
Right
Barbara
about that.
Bush.
Barbara Bush.
Yeah, Barbara.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
hideous.
that dude's jaw is strong.
What if there have been more male first ladies than there have been female first ladies?
Oh.
That would be.
Henry
who's that
Kissinger's
guy?
wife. Now there's also some, like, I think any ugly woman is being called a guy now.
Yes.
But there are
That's
some weird
fucked.
ones. Like Henry Kissinger's wife is like, she looks like Larry Bird in a fucking wig and dress. She's like 6'9". It seems like she's huge. That seems interesting.
So that's what I mean when I call it dick distraction, because it's like people said, oh, he's got feminine shoulders. Sam Tripoli. He's shaped like a triangle, or I'm like, what are we talking about?
I have kids, man.
I've smelled Sam Tripoli on Broken
Johnny's
Street, and
sexually attracted to me.
I know he's not a woman.
Yeah, dude.
Sam's
I got to
farthest
shower
thing from a
more.
woman.
The point is this. This is what's coming out. The Statue of Liberty is a guy, and it's all about almost perverting our symbols as well. So those symbols don't have any power with us. When the Nazis took the symbol for peace and turned it into the Nazi symbol, that's done on purpose.
Yeah, it's also I think known as the hooked cross too, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah,
I think that's the literal translation from German, I believe, is like hooked cross, something like that.
yeah, and also you brought up the Statue of Liberty. I think that's that's very symbolic of Lucifer, right? The feminine aspect of Lucifer, because Lucifer was first worshipped as the planet Venus. Before I think maybe after being worshipped for so long, it developed into an egregore of some sort. But like the Statue of Liberty, welcoming everyone into our country, here's this torch, and then you have like the masculine aspect of Lucifer, aka Samael, being Uncle Sam, right? Like the army, like I want you to fight for our country, all that stuff. So yeah, they have inverted our symbols, or maybe they were always inverted, like the snake and the eagle. It's one thing I first heard on your show years ago, bro,
One of
and
the
you had
best
Matt
episodes we
LaCroix
ever
on.
did.
You had Matt LaCroix on, and learned a lot from that episode. Started watching his stuff after that, and yeah, man, he taught me a lot. And so you have to look at this symbolism as well, in which I believe the eagle just comes from the phoenix, which is alchemical at the same time, representative of Freemasonry, which goes back to, Babylon, Solomon's temple, all that stuff, where they were contacting these same deities, you know.
The Hakenkreuz, by the way, that's the German word for the
Oh,
hooked cross.
okay,
Rather,
okay.
somebody's going to call me up on that. So it's
The what?
Okay.
Just the hooked cross in German is Hakenkreuz.
Hakenkreuz.
Nice.
It's crazy to me. Yeah. It is interesting, the whole thing, the games that are being played, the influence on the false reality that is being projected onto our reality. And it's all sorcery. I've been talking about this forever. It's all sorcery. Everything is a magic trick. Our intelligence agents we were sold on, they were law enforcement. They're not. They're private security for the very elite of the world, the biggest at the highest levels. And their job is to protect these old banking families from thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Those banking families coming from the priest of Ra and these Babylonian priest of Marduk, Ra's shield, the shield of Ra, Ra's shield, Ra's child, um, as well as like all the black nobility families, the Orsini and the Pallavicini, all those people, man. I don't really know because we had William Ramsey on Already Dead. I actually had him on my show last Saturday, but we talked about Crowley and stuff. When he came on Already Dead, we talked about the Knights of Malta. And everyone always points out this stuff with Israel behind Trump, right? But if you look at some of these people he's put in office, like that Pete Hegseth guy who has the Templar cross on him, supposedly it's the Knights of Malta, really, which comes straight from the Vatican, right? So it's like, oh,
Yeah,
the Jews
I
run
get
everything. It's like,
100%.
no, the Jesuits, like who? I just think they're the same people, just branded in these different
No,
categories
did
to
William
give us
Ramsey
an
push
option.
back against that?
I didn't really. Him and Jose did most of the talking.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
But did he not think the Knights of Malta was having big influence that's connected to the Vatican?
I mean, I think he did.
Okay.
Maybe it's like higher levels of the Vatican to where, how it is, like you just need a few people to infiltrate, sometimes even one person to infiltrate something and to start subverting it or to set something up through it, such as these secret orders that exist, right?
No, I agree. I totally agree. And like, that's what people can't understand. They're like, if you're going to sit there and you're going to say that Israel is the deep state or whatever you want to say about, and it is the center of all power, what you're saying is that everything that was before Abraham, everything before Israel, it just decided to give up and not hold on to their power or influence this thing. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous to me. It's crazy. Like the Scottish Freemasons basically formed Israel. All of the high ups in the British government that wanted Israel were Freemasons. The Vatican owns giant chunks of Israel.
Yeah.
Like, people don't want to talk about that. They only want to focus on this stuff. And when you get into the Babylonian oral history of the rabbis, which is the Talmud, that Babylonian right there lets you know everything. They've been
Yeah.
completely manipulated. And what you do is, how do you control a territory? You cause a religious conflict and you fucking fund one side and not the other side. You give the other side all the weapons, everything. You hand them a book, which is the Talmud, and you go, listen, you don't even have to work. You can just study this all the time. You don't even have to get a job. You
Right.
can just live as a Talmud scholar. You know, Michael Shuroff's father, who's in charge, I believe, of Homeland Security, who at the time, his father was a Talmud scholar. His mother was involved in Operation Magic Carpet. She was instrumental in the formation of Israel. Who do you think led all the dancing Israelis back to fucking Israel? Michael Churoff. Come on, dog.
Okay.
It's layers to this shit, dude. There's
Right.
layers. There's layers. Everybody has a boss until you get to maybe Pindar in the middle of Earth, the 8 foot white albino lizard.
Albino lizard. Yeah.
I don't even know.
He
But
exists.
the point is that there are, like, you know, Hitler's mad at the Jews, right? And he's mad at the bankers, but he doesn't go into Switzerland where the bank that is destroying his country is located.
Well, yeah, who's funded both sides of each war since Napoleon, right? These same banking families. So, I mean, and then you have, when you get into Hitler and, you know, the National Socialist Party, you get into the Vril Society and the Thule Society, and you learn about Maria Orsic, and like they were channeling these entities from Aldebaran, right? These Nordic beings, and you know, maybe having meetings inside of the earth with them, right? Admiral Byrd talked about it, and there's been other people that have talked about it. I'm a big Hollow Earth guy. I actually think that the Earth could be both flat and hollow. I never really push back on all my flat earthers. I have some in my audience. I actually did two episodes on the land beyond the ice walls, so I had fun with it.
So what do you think? Like the kind of the diamond shape that we see sometimes? That
Yeah.
kind?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I should try to get into that again soon, because that's one thing that I think people will always argue about, you know,
Oh yeah.
because you got some die-hard flat earthers, bro.
Well, as long as you're not allowed to go high enough to look, you'll never know the truth, and that's what it's meant to be. It's just round Earth. It is, you know, it's that saying from 1984. Hold on, let me get it real quick. 1984.
You think you're not allowed to go high enough, or you just can't go high enough?
Maybe
I don't know,
both.
man. Yeah, I mean, if there's a firmament, like, I don't know, if the Earth is flat, well, okay, even if it's not, let me rephrase that. I think there still may be extra land that they're not
There-
telling us about, right?
This is it. This is what I say about round Earth. It's a quote from Orwell in 1984. The part that told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, it was their final, most essential command. So what the round ball is telling you is that you don't feel like you're moving. You don't see that you're moving. There's nothing that tells you you're moving except for these people in lab coats and your fifth grade teacher telling you you're moving. And you're just like, oh, yeah, we're moving. I'm not saying it's flat. I'm just saying I take flat over spinning on a ball through Earth in this crazy ass thing.
Oh yeah, whatever we're shown, whatever NASA shows us, or it's all it. I think it's mostly fake and gay, right? We didn't. Well, we may have gone to the moon, but that wasn't the footage. You don't think we went at all?
No way.
I mean, they wouldn't tell us if we really did. That they would
We've
give
sent
us
shit
some.
up there for sure, but
So
Okay,
you think
well,
maybe we went
maybe more
and
along
got
the lines
scared
of
of what
that.
was up there? There's been that theory, went up there, got scared of what was up there, and then went back.
Well,
what do you
it
mean they
talks-
saw like aliens?
Chupacabra
and
and
shit?
came back.
It talks
Yeah.
about in the Anunnaki stories about, you know, Sin, Nanar Sin, who, if you look at his symbolism, it's the crescent moon, right? I actually kind of believe he is the god of Islam, and they do the Hajj around the cube
Black
of Saturn because that is El is the father of Nanar Sin, and so when you worship one of his sons, you're worshiping that side of the bloodline, right? And so then you have the piece of meteorite in there. And I know there's a lot of theories about the moon that it may be plasma or that it's hollow and there's reptilians living inside of it. I also may think that as well. I think there's a lot with the egg symbolism lately and reptilians. My co-host Adrian talks about how Inky was an egg birth because of his reptilian genes that he got. So,
But what are you talking about? The eggs right now? The crisis right now?
well, there's
No.
an egg crisis, right? But
Oh,
there's
really?
also, well, yeah, they're saying there's egg shortages and but there's also this egg symbolism going on. Raven talks about it a bunch. He constantly posts about it, and so my feed is bombarded with it, as well as a lot of my audience will just like put eggs, just like, talking about eggs a bunch. Um, I think it has to do with like rebirth, maybe as well as like the primordial egg, which you see with like the serpent wrapped around it a bunch, and you just had the superb owl, right? The Super Bowl with the football kind of being the egg of the owl. And I don't know, man. I think, they kind of, like I said, they feed us this stuff into the public and then something comes about and it's our job to interpret what this stuff is. I should do a deep dive on the occult symbolism of eggs. I think I may do that.
I'd love to see
Well,
that.
we discussed baseball's Freemasonry,
Oh, because of uh
the compass, three
right,
outs,
right.
three,
Oh yeah.
nines. You got 9 hitters,
Hmm.
3 outs,
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
dude.
three
Well, it's
strikes.
all bread and circus, right? Like all that's really all sports is. Like as much as some of us love sports, my son plays football. So oh. Oh, dude.
Baseball.
Baseball. Which
I like that.
oh man.
Yep, dude. It's crazy to me. And again, I got a good friend of mine who's a Freemason. And, he's like, dude, we don't do anything. We just hang out, talk shit, drink. I go, yeah, that's kind of how every group is at the lower levels. Even if you're like a 33, like
Right.
in like Santa Barbara, like you're not really part of the power scheme at
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
at the very, very
yeah.
top.
It's like those people. I've met people that say, "Oh, I've been to the P Diddy parties." I'm like, you weren't there. Not the one you're talking about. They kicked your ass out early because
Yeah,
if
and
not, you
you
wouldn't be
were
talking about it.
attractive enough to molest.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
want to give you in a career. You were there. They're like, oh, dude, no, thank you.
Think they're gonna let you touch J Lo? Come on, they're not letting you touch J Lo.
Well, you just, and the same thing with like Jews. Like, it's like Owen Benjamin calls them deli Jews, right? It's like most of your Jews are just like trying to live their life and make $1, and then they're forced to defend
Yeah.
like these people at the very top who are scumbags.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
every group. Every group. The bottom is just normal people. As higher up you go,
Well,
in the power structure, the more psychopath they become.
well, yeah, but I mean, Freemasonry is inherently Jewish. It stems from Solomon's temple, right? Who was Solomon, son of David? He was Jewish. And when you look at Freemasonry and as well as other mystery schools, you see that it really all stems from the Kabbalah, right? The Zohar, the Kabbalah, um, and like, dude, I've talked about this before with the Star of David. That's a hex sigil.
Let's get
It's the
into
hexagram of
that, dude.
that's the hexagram of Solomon. And so, I mean, I get if a church wants to support Israel, that's their own prerogative, but putting that flag up in your congregation, I don't think it's a good idea. Um, I mean, that's what they use to invoke deities to build Solomon's temple, used in the Goetia,
Let me ask you
the Lesser
something.
Keys. Yeah.
The hexagram of Solomon, why is that important to you? Meaning, why you're saying it's not a Jewish symbol?
Well, I'm saying like if you look where it originates from, if you go to Google right now and type in the hexagram of Solomon, it's the Star of David. And so I just think I mean, and this is something else I talk about is
But
the
but real
intention of
quick,
it, right?
I'm sorry to cut you off. But what does that imply? What are you implying?
Oh,
Okay, so
I'm
you're saying it's not the Star of David, it's actually the hexagon of Solomon. But what is the hexagon of Solomon?
well, I think it's a sigil,
Which
you
means
know?
what? I'm not challenging you.
No, no,
I'm
you're
literally
fine, dude.
asking
No,
like,
it's used to invoke certain deities, maybe. I don't know. I think it depends on how you use it, maybe.
okay.
With many symbols, it's kind of like that. Same thing with words. It's the intention of a lot of things. Um, and
But
so
it
yeah.
isn't, would you say that it would be that it's not an original religious symbol of Judaism then? Or is that still Judaism, the hexagram of Solomon? Because there's
Uh,
some people think it's Remphan.
well, there's that theory that it's the star of Remphan, and I mean, I haven't looked into that too much. I'm just familiar with some of these ancient symbols, and I mean, when hopefully y'all can't hear my dog barking. I'm sorry
It's
if you
fine
can.
You're
if
good,
the
yeah.
dog did bark.
He's
We can't hear it though.
okay. Okay, sorry. Um, I mean, yeah, man, it's left up to interpretation. Sometimes I seem to think that maybe it could be something that they have subverted, right? Um, but I mean, you can't really just because at least say you have a Jewish person that wears it around their neck, it doesn't make them a bad person, right?
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
because you have the pentagram that when you turn right side up, it's a pentacle. It's used to protect you from spirits. When you do it, upside down, it's used to invoke spirits. So, it's the same thing with numbers,
So
I think.
crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, dude. And I think this stuff is a lot older than they give it credit for. I don't think we're told exactly how old this stuff is, or maybe it's not. I've said this before, Sam. I could be wrong about a lot of this stuff. If people have questions about it, they can go do their own research, or you know, I could always go deeper into things. I tell people to suggest things for me to dive into or to do an episode on. I always tell my audience that I'm always down to question stuff. So,
How do you do research with 10,000 podcasts?
oh man, well, it's hard to do I had all this accumulated research from over the years that I kind of had stored up, and I mean over the past year, I mean I haven't been reading as much as I want to, but I'll find something that interests me and I'll go into it a little bit. I'll make a few pages of notes, and then uh, a lot of the times I'll end up making connections into something else that I never even expected to happen. You know, um, but
It's
it's only like
it's an endless well. It's an
yeah,
endless well looking into this stuff. It could just go on forever, dude. Ever and
on,
ever.
ongoing ball of yarn. Yeah, bro.
It's like I just went and saw Dog Man with my daughters. And I thought it was an excellent movie. If you just kind of move on from the fact it was an animal human hybrid, which seems to be like what their dark secrets that the elites have been trying to do forever, And then there's so much symbolism in there, like cultural Marxism and Dogman. But the movie's so good, you don't even
I gotta see it.
really, it's great. I cannot recommend it enough. I don't know if it's good enough for just an adult to go see by itself,
Don't go
but
to don't go to the movie
Well,
theaters.
my
Get it
son,
on YouTube for $20. Don't go to the movie theaters by yourself for this.
yeah, but dude, no, I think the movie theater, well, if you have a kid, take him to the movie theater.
I think
If
my
you just
son and
want
my
to watch it
wife
by
may have seen
yourself,
it.
watch it at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my son may have went and seen it with
Yeah, I
with
took
my
my
wife.
nephew to see it. was good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he has seen it then.
Ricky
I guess
But it
I
Gervais.
need
was
to
like
watch it more.
Very
really
funny.
well. You don't even realize that Pete Davidson's in it. That's how good it is.
I'll take your word for it, man. I'm gonna check it out.
But we go and we watch, and then I saw Sonic. I wanted to really like it. I thought it was not done well, especially when you're just seeing Dogman. But it's like there's symbolism in all that stuff early, and like, you get into like YouTube for kids, slowly but surely allowing really adult content make it into YouTube for kids. That is done on purpose.
Yeah, yeah. The actual pornography on there, right? And it's
Oh
titled
yeah, like
something
hey, learn
completely
to shave
different.
your butthole, and then it lets you see it, and then if I say butthole, I get dinged. If I show shaving my butthole, suddenly it's like
No.
educational.
You know what?
Yeah.
Me and Johnny were talking about. You know that guy that uploads Tinfoil Hat?
Yeah,
He had the balls to put up that Jew episode that we censored
yeah.
on YouTube. I was like,
Oh
whoa, not
wow.
banned, not dinged, got the comments, probably got monetized for it. It's just, I'm depending
By
who
the
it
way,
is.
dude, everyone thinks it's you uploading it.
No, I'm telling you, it's because your name's on it. I really do think it's at one point, once they find you, you're dinged. Because he's doing fine over there. He's getting more views than we
Yeah,
don't smoke
but
with
dude,
him.
even if he's doing fine, which we love him on the show, we wish he would contact us, and so we could thank him. I
Yes.
think he thinks we're gonna yell at him. I'm not, and I'm very thankful that
Yeah.
he does it.
And at this point, come out, man. Everyone thinks it's me. Saying everyone's like, oh, come
No,
on,
I don't
John.
even mind if he hides it. It's fine with me. It's just like I would love to just say thank you and just
We're gonna
ask you
sue
to.
the fuck out of you, buddy.
No,
You
we're
better.
not, dude. Put it out. Put it out anywhere. Everybody put it out. I don't give a shit. I mean, we can't do it. They've dinged us. And again, you know, you used to get 150,000 views. You used to
Hmm.
get 300,000 views.
I remember. Yeah.
Now we can't get more than that. That guy can't get more than I think the Kurt Metzger did 20,000.
Yeah.
And that's like the largest one on YouTube in years.
Wow.
And it's just crazy, dude. I would have to take a giant break and come back and be like, I'm back, but I'm only doing reaction videos to cat videos. That's all I'm doing. And that's the only way they would love me. I love everything you're talking about. I'm so into hidden history. I'm so into all this shit. Esoteric knowledge. I love that stuff. I love that people they like, dude, if you know what they're doing, you know what they're doing. Like, and most people have no clue of how deep it goes. Like you bring up the Knights of Malta. I mean, how many people talk about them? We're talking about Jesuits, we're talking about Zionists, we're talking about Marxists, we're talking about Freemasons. But how many people bring up the Knights of Malta? Very few,
Yeah.
dude.
No. Almost like it's forbidden in a way. So you wonder why they let you talk about this one group and not this, or not that. I guess you wonder why, like, this one group is talked about so much, and the other group you kind of have to dig a little deeper into. Even then, you may not be told the 100% truth about it, right? Because I had no idea about the Knights of Malta. I think I've heard maybe Donut talk about them before. Uh, but besides that, and then with William Ramsey, but I knew that they were up there with like the Knights Templar, the Knights of Columbus, you know, and so I knew that they were like a Christian mysticism order, I guess you could say, along the lines of the Rosicrucians and all that other stuff. So yeah, more people should be talking about it, dude. You're right.
I think 90% of the country can't even comprehend what you're saying right now. They just can't. They don't. They just. It's so beyond their understanding. And they're just saturating, like Obama said, just flooding the town square with sewage right now.
Oh.
That's forcing people to try to run from this stuff. Even though more and more people are listening to podcasts, there's more and more conspiracy podcasts, which is great. There's more and more people listening to it. It's still a large portion of the people just don't even want to hear about it. They just want to. They're just, and I mean this with all due respect, simple folk. And that's why you've seen the rise of stupid.
Yeah. people hate what makes them uncomfortable, you know, and they fear what they don't know as well. So, and that may not be like such a bad thing, dude. Like I said earlier on, some people, I don't know if they could handle some of this stuff. You know, it, where I was, you know, before I kind of got off drugs, and 'cause, you know, I used to be real crazy, just like you. So, you know, I've been through a spiritual journey myself. I don't know if I could have handled it back then, you know. Um, but now that I'm in a place, I have a relationship with Christ, and you know, I'm the head of my household and all that good stuff. I think I've been granted some form of discernment, you know, to kind of try to figure out the truth, right? Because like I said, I don't know if I'm 100%. I could be full of shit. I don't know. You know, we may never fully know the complete truth, but it's definitely worth the try trying to find out, you know.
What do you think is going on? What kind of spiritual battle of man do you think's going on right now?
Well, the I guess the demasculization of men in a way, right? And then leading them astray by trying to teach them that they have to like treat women like garbage. And you know, I mean, I don't know, especially in a household, if you want to raise a family, you need a woman. You feel me? Like I just I couldn't imagine being a single father, especially with my daughter. You know, you need that energy, that feminine energy to kind of balance that out. Um, so I think that, you know, as well, like I said earlier, these archetypes are coming back, I think, through us, if we're allowing them to. If you're not in tune with the Holy Spirit or whatever, you know, whatever someone wants to call it, um, I think you are open to being oppressed in a way by these deities easier now than ever because of all these, you know, things that have taken place, all these rituals, whether on like a mass scale, like what we were talking about earlier, the Super Bowl and these music award shows that all represent Babylon, or
Allison Keys, what's her name? Allison Keys. She's like, and the
Alicia
most
Keys?
high,
Alicia Keys,
Alyssa
right?
Keys, excuse me, Allison Chains, Alyssa Keys, right? She goes, and the most high, and she does the two fingers up. I was like, that's crazy.
Right? It's like who is your most high, you know? Uh,
And nobody
and,
ever asks anybody about any of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many opportunities. These people are encounter press all the time. Not one person has ever been asked about these things. It's surprising to me.
Because they would
yeah,
disappear, and meaning not, I mean, maybe not necessarily off, but they would not be allowed
Maybe.
access to anything. You
Yeah.
have to play ball. And you brought up something earlier, Jules, that I wanted to comment on, and it was about how things just disappear. And I had a couple examples of it, and I can't remember all of them, but the one that stands out the most to me is when LeBron James got accused of steroids and they had him dead to rights. There was like a doctor in Cleveland that said he had, you know, proof with syringes with
right.
LeBron's blood, and how they were talking about it not on like Fox or ESPN, but they were talking on YouTube, and then the story just disappeared, like gone. And I'm like, how can the story disappear from independent media? And then you realize they're not that independent.
Yeah. And usually it's something else that happens, uh, like immediately after to make people forget completely about what just happened, right? Like what we were saying earlier with the Trump assassination. Like, yeah, that like ever since then it just seems like all this stuff has been like kind of unraveling more and more and more, and like as soon as something else happens we have something else going on, so nobody looks into this completely.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's pretty wild, dude. And
The
then
LA fires. Nobody's talking about the LA fires.
Yeah.
It's just
right?
done.
Well,
It's
it's
just
like, Yeah. Yeah.
And you could bring out anything you want. You could find a video of Karen Bass starting a fire. Nobody would care. Nobody would care. They just don't care because the entry fee into showbiz is conformity. Pedophilia is at the highest levels, or selling your soul, your holes in your soul. But at the highest levels, it's pedophilia.
Yeah.
Like the highest levels. Like not where you're rich, but you're wealthy. Okay. But conformity is the ticket to the big dance. And you'll
Yeah.
never be have any of these people calling out power because then they'll be excommunicated because all they need is one red light and they don't get a gig. So they have to bend over backwards stupid to say shit.
Is that what happened to you?
Well, no, dude, I just like I mean a long time ago I realized I'm not an actor. I can't
Right.
act, and I'm not a writer. I'm functionally retarded. Okay. So the only thing I can do is talk shit. And then like, Dana yelled at me because I put out this post about being excommunicated from comedy. And she's like mad at me for saying that, but it's like it's true. Like like I've been right about everything and it upsets them. It upsets them. I called out people who I thought are bad people. And I got excommunicated, you know,
Mm.
because conformity is the game. You got to conform. You can't rock the boat. And no matter how much of a piece of shit somebody is, you got to kiss their ass because that's how you move forward.
What's her beef with you saying that it's kind of just bad mojo to say that, or that she doesn't think that that's true?
She doesn't think.
She think no, she doesn't think that's true, but she thinks it's negative energy.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't care because it is true.
But even if it was negative energy, the post was very positive. You were telling you like the post was like, I got 3 fucking podcasts in the top 200. It don't matter if I'm excommunicated or not. I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty like a little jab at them. I didn't see it bad. I
Yeah,
liked
it
it.
totally
It's
is.
very uplifting, Sam.
You're such a good guy, Jules. You're
I
such
try.
a good guy, dude. I love your style.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
so let's get into something. Did you finish your point on the spiritual war on man?
Well,
Because I feel
I think it's important, I mean, for us to keep having children and build a life for yourself. And I just think everything they're throwing at us on social media and culture, uh, it's a spiritual attack, right? And that's why I believe that a lot of these lower level entities are involved with these attacks on people.
what do you
So,
think the power structure is of the world?
it's a big
God
question.
above all, and then and like we're trying to understand how the world works through the human brain, and we may not be the brain may not be built in a way that's allowed to think that. And sometimes when they do think that, maybe they get to point like Tesla, they kind of get ran out of society. But it's like
Yeah.
the power structure. And I said this, and my Christian friend got mad at me. But I was saying it was God versus fallen angels. And he goes, God's not. No, God's above all. I go, okay, I respect that. So it's fallen angels war on God's greatest creation. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, dude. And you know, people don't realize like, yeah, we come from the creator. And that's where you'll get some kind of deception in like the ancient alien stuff. Is like I don't think that these beings created us. There are theories. There's theories of them doing these uh DNA gene splicing and creating cryptids, creating like what you would say Sasquatch would be, right?
Dog man.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the reason that they can turn invisible to camouflage themselves or to communicate with you telepathically would be because they have uh, a trace of this DNA from these fallen angelic beings, right? And so I do think that uh, these fallen deities are at the top, but I think there's a hierarchy within these guys as well. You know, yeah, and you could call it like, I guess, uh, levels to it. Like, it's kind of like have you have the Ophinum, the Seraphim, and the Cherubim, right? Like levels of the fallen. Same with the tribes of giants, right? You had like the Anakim, the Nephilim, the Rephaim, all these different. There's a couple more. I can't remember. And I mean, those are hybrid beings as well, right? Like, it's pretty crazy to me that you see these giants in almost every single ancient culture, but people still want to say that they're not real, and they want to believe in dinosaurs,
It's
right?
so crazy to
Yeah,
me, dude.
yeah,
It's so crazy. You could believe in dinosaurs, but you can't believe in giants and titans.
exactly, dude. And I mean, I believe that every single dinosaur was indeed a dragon. Uh, that's where my
I'm not
schizo
against
brain
that
goes.
either, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Because you have the symbolism of the serpent, and that has a lot to do with all that egg symbolism that's happening now as well. But the symbolism of the serpent, the serpent energy, this ancient knowledge, and so I wouldn't put it. I mean, these dragons were probably interdimensional as well. Um, and that's another thing that you see in every culture, right? Or you see something to that effect, especially in a lot of these native cultures, like the South American cultures with Quetzalcoatl, the plume serpent, and then you
Mhm.
have like with the Gnostics, these Sophia dragons, and then in China with those
What?
dragons, yeah, dude, yeah. It's pretty wild, but it could all just be symbolic, right? I don't know. It could mean they hail from reptilians or something, some ancient reptilian race that mixed with this fallen angelic race. There's theories of that as well.
Well,
So,
they were always talking about how, like, the Chinese zodiac, every other sign is a real animal, but suddenly they have this dragon in there, and it's not supposed to be real.
right, right, right,
And they
right.
were talking about how there's like no history of a panda bear. Suddenly now we got panda bears, and like
Yeah,
they can't even have sex. It's like this weird ass experiment.
they can't have sex.
Like they don't want to procreate. Like they gotta like
So,
run panda porn for them to get the action going.
are they like test tube little babies or
Animals,
something?
like
Like,
I don't
yeah,
know. A
yeah, yeah.
bunch of people have had theories on it, but some people don't think they're real.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen a panda be born before, you know?
Well, yeah,
So,
I think in captivity, especially, they're very finicky about who they mate with. They're particular. It sounds like, yeah,
it
that's why
just
they're
seems
hard to
like,
keep alive.
yeah, it just seems like an inbred bear, like you
They're
have
also like dumb as shit, too. Have you ever
Yeah.
watched? There are these great compilations of pandas just falling off
just
of like
falling.
doing like physical hijinks, and they
Yeah.
put like metal music behind them, and it's the funniest shit you'll ever see. They're clumsy as hell. Yeah, I could buy that. That there's some kind of like the pug of the bear world or something like that.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
Totally
yeah,
see that.
yeah.
Like my dog's a Maltipoo, right? Like what the
Oh
fuck is a Maltipoo?
yeah.
What is a multi poo?
He's half Maltese, half miniature poodle. He's in there throwing a fit right now. I don't know
That's
why.
fine. Let him out. Let him dance, dude. Let
Yeah.
him dance.
He's good. He's probably I'm sure my wife's home or something. I don't know. Um, he likes to bark a lot, and I'll always be like, "Oh, sorry if y'all can hear that." And every time people are like, "We can't hear anything."
Yeah, we
I'm
can't
like,
hear.
Yeah,
okay,
we're
well now
fine,
I
dude. Your
sound like,
man cave is doing great.
I
Mhm.
am in my
So
man cave. I'm in my garage.
so
So
so we have God, then we have these fallen angels, hierarchy within the fallen angels. And then we have like what the banks, do you think the banks or the
uh,
secret societies who run the banks?
okay, yes. Okay, so the banks are in there with the heads of these societies, but above the banks and all that are the priests, right? These king priests. Because what way can any of these people get in touch with these deities if not through these certain rituals, these certain rites that have probably been passed down through these bloodlines that that these certain I guess you could even call them high wizards, right? They inhabit. And so the way to them is through this priest class. And I think that's where you get the Black Pope and all that stuff.
Or the Gray Pope, bro,
Or the
who's like
Gray
above
Pope.
all of them.
Or the Gray Pope. Yeah, man. I think the Black Pope may just be there to run cover for the Gray Pope.
The Black Pope runs the Jesuit order, right? That's where
Yes.
all the shady shit goes down. Yeah, and then you got and that's very interesting. Like the Pope, whoever's the head of whatever Jewish sect that is, the Tunnel
Chabad.
Jews, right? The
You come
Tunnel
up the
Jews,
Chabad.
the Chabad. That guy, he's
Well,
like a what'd you call him? King priest?
oh, he's I mean, dude, yeah, it's like kind of reminds me of like a wizard, like a high wizard king priest of Bel or some which is like goes into Babylonian, worshiping those deities. Um yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities with ancient Jewish mysticism and these deities. So
Do
it's
you think? Do you think Trump is a Kabbalic sorcerer?
I think he's a chaos magician.
I think he is too, dude.
Yeah.
I think he's 100% a chaos magician. And there's just
He says it.
I mean,
MAGA,
mega, what
right?
mega is high
Magus.
up in Satanism. There, someone else brought like mega's like in a bunch of different shit, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Mega?
Yeah, it's in Latin, what is it? Mage or magus, right? Meaning like the high wizard of that. So yeah, I mean, look at the way he speaks, the way he has like that cadence with his voice and stuff. I'm sure for some people it's hypnotizing. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah. I also think people are tired, dude. I think they're just so tired of fighting that they just want somebody to come in and give them a moment. And that's why Trump is perfect at what he's doing. He just gives you enough to make you happy to breathe. And then he does his chaos shit. You're like, oh, okay. I mean, you're not cutting off kids' dicks. I'll take it,
right.
And it's just they exhaust you to the point of just breaking down. And then they give you just a little enough that you feel like he's on your side. And two for you, one for me is better than anything we've had for decades.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, it seems now like I've heard that Trump will be the last president, right? Because and there that book written too.
Yep.
Yeah. Up.
Yeah.
Well,
What's
he
that about,
always, I
man?
mean, he loves to flirt with that idea. Now, you can
You
say,
won't have to do it
because-
again. You won't ever have to worry again about it ever
Yeah.
again. Ever.
and he's,
What
I
do you
mean,
worry
most of
about?
the time he's joking or he's
Being
speaking kind
provocative.
of indirectly, yeah, or being provocative, but still,
Nah, you worry
that's
about
something a president would never talk about before, except for maybe at the correspondence dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and he touches it a lot. So,
How about him calling the Maine governor a him, he,
yeah.
over and over
Oh.
again?
So,
He's just out of control. You're like,
Very disrespectful, yeah.
yeah, but people like get so angry. But I'm like, dude, let's talk some shit, dude. I don't know. Like people like that. People like shit talk. I don't know, dude. It's interesting. To the left, he's just destroying everything, even though they've destroyed everything. Like the left has destroyed all social norms. And then when Trump doesn't play by their new rules, they think he's destroying social norms. And it's like, no, dude, you created these new norms that you're telling us are norms. We haven't agreed to it. And this guy's telling you to go fuck himself, to
Right.
go fuck yourself. So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sorry. I was going to say it's like they blame Trump for destroying whatever they thought we had, but it's like, no, y'all have actually destroyed our culture,
yep,
our society,
yep.
our financial system, absolutely everything. You're endangering our children with your propaganda and this fucking shit with these teachers at these public schools. I was fortunate enough to get my son in a private school, so Um, yeah, man, the indoctrination is deep. It's very deep. And like I said earlier, man, people, man, are very fearful,
It's
very
all
fearful.
sorcery, dude. It's all sorcery.
Yeah.
Everything is sorcery. Jules, you crushed it. Thank you so much for coming on. One more time, can you tell them where they could find you?
Yeah, man. Guys, I'm on Twitter at Graypilled Pod, Instagram, Graypilled_podcast. I'm on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. You can also find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Graypilled Podcast. Got a few tiers over there. There we go. Um, yeah, yeah, it's developing slowly but surely.
Buddy,
And
everyone's
so,
got to start somewhere and you build it, dude.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. You know, I owe it all to a few people. Like I said, shouts out to Paranoid American. Um, y'all stay tuned for some sound sciences that we have coming up. As well as I think I'll be on Nephilim Death Squad uh here in the next couple weeks as
We
well.
love those
Back on
boys.
there again. Yeah, they're good
They're
people.
great, dude. You're great. They're all great.